please welcome Simon Denny.
Thank you very much, Andre. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, is that working? My goodness, it's magic, isn't it? I don't know what causes rows in your households, because in my household, the only thing, really, ever, is about how much screen time my two boys are allowed. Does that ring any bells, anybody? Yeah? And I have to say, I'm probably guilty, because I think I might have been a geek even before there was such a thing. Way back in the 70s, I got interested in programming, a thing called BASIC. And it was in the days when there was like a green screen and the computer in our school was connected to something called a mainframe in Slough. And you got an old-fashioned phone. You remember the old-fashioned phones? Like a proper phone, showing how old I am. Proper phone with like kind of two bits like that, and you stuck it in a rubber suction thing, and that communicated with that computer in Slough. And I programmed, and I remember the first program I ever did was a kind of space game, where you could basically go around shooting things. And it all came up on a printer, a dot matrix printer. So you used to watch the excitement of watching your game coming out, okay? Not instant gratification at all, because it was printed out gradually, where it went pow, boom, okay? Right back in the 70s. So I think I've got what I think prisoners would call form when it comes to actually programming. And so I've always felt a bit guilty about computers, and I know that certainly in my life I've occasionally got dipped into computer games and found them absolutely compelling. And I've got some very, very shameful memories of staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning playing computer games, absolutely hooked. So when I had kids, I was determined that shouldn't happen with them. And so we weren't going to have a console. And then some neighbors got a Sony PlayStation 2, and it had this fantastic thing in it called an iToy, where they could actually interact with the screen, and it was physical. And I thought, that's great, because actually a lot of the time, my kids, who are as talented at football as I am, don't get much exercise, or as much as they should do, and actually this would be a great way for them to actually be able to get some exercise. So I took that step that I promised myself I wouldn't do, and bought the PlayStation with the iToy. And of course, they did quite like the iToy, and that was fun, and they kind of washed the screen and stuff, and they did all sorts of star jumps, and that was great. But there were other games that were attached with it, because it was a bundle. So actually, there was a Finding Nemo game there, and there was also I think Sonic the Hedgehog game too. And I watched with horror as my then, I think, 6-year-old son, Jack, got very bored with the kind of physical stuff and actually really got engaged with playing things like Sonic. And that's when the row started. I'll be quite honest. That's because trying to get him off it, he was absolutely addicted to it. And there was one point where he was getting so frustrated, so angry, because he couldn't do this particular sequence of moves. And he said, "You do it, Daddy, you do it." And so I took up the controller, and I started doing it. And I couldn't do it either. I was rubbish. I was absolutely rubbish. But the thing that really shocked me was what happened to me physiologically. My heart rate just soared. The adrenaline that went through me trying to solve this particular problem. Okay, and I thought, my God, no wonder he gets, at a 6-year-old boy with brain developing and the rest of it, no wonder he's addicted to it. It's like a drug. And I suspect, I don't know enough about this from a scientific point of view, I suspect that actually, neurologically, you're getting the same kind of hit as you're getting if you're actually taking drugs. Certainly, it felt like that to me, he said. I don't know. I'll stop that one there. It was quite a high, anyway. It felt great. Like when you go swimming in cold water, he said. Not safe territory there. So what I did a very, very bad thing. Okay, can all the kids in the audience put their hands over their ears now? I took the plug out from the wall, okay, and I told my son, Jack, that it had broken. Okay, and I then sold it on eBay. Very bad, Dad. It's okay, you can take your hands away now, kids. I did actually fess up. About 3 or 4 years ago, I told Jack what I'd done. And he's not forgiven me yet. Okay, but he's got an Xbox now, so that's okay. So he's kind of moved on, and he's got lots of games and stuff. So as I say, I feel kind of responsible because, and I know how it feels, partly because I think, is it genetic, a kind of fascination, why kids have got a fascination with these games? Because I say, the one thing that we worry about only is the amount of screen time they have. And we've had, we've had the rules, we try to be consistent when we rewrite them. And then along came this game called Minecraft. And it wasn't racing, it wasn't shooting, it was, as I think Dan showed you a tiny bit, it's, this extraordinary game, which is like kind of online Lego, where you build things, and some of the laws of physics, as I understand it, are kind of suspended, and you can muck about with stuff. And I suddenly discovered Jack was building a hotel in a tree, okay, in this enormous tree. I thought that's brilliant, okay. But he's not going around shooting stuff. He's just being creative. And what's more, he's talking on Skype with his friends as well at the same time. So there's a kind of collaborative thing going on. And that was great. And that was brilliant. And then Harry, he's now 10, 10-year-old, saw what Jack was doing. And he got addicted to playing Minecraft as well. And for the first time since the video games had actually come back into our lives, I felt more relaxed because, to me, it seemed that apart from the fact that what you're not getting is just that kind of hit from the computer game, you are engaging socially, you are creating, you are problem solving. And that Minecraft actually is, well, I say, it's like online Lego. We're not going to, who's ever taken away the Lego from their children because they've been playing with it too much? It's got that same aspect to it. So it's screen-based, but in many ways, it's even better because it means that my kids can play with their friends, all sorts of times, even when we know where they are as well. So that's good. So Minecraft seemed to be a very different proposition. The problem is, of course, and I was talking to Harry this morning, and as I left him to cycle here, he was online playing something where I think he was shooting various people again. I said, bye-bye, kiss. Eyes never left the screen. I said, what got you into Minecraft in the first place? And he said, well, what I loved about it was Jack played it, his older brother thing, but also the fact that you could solve various different problems, and there are lots of mods you could have as well. I think as Dan was talking about mods, the idea that you can actually, if you don't like something, you can go online and you can search about it and you can find a solution. So again, it was going beyond the game. It was actually finding out more about the world and actually interacting with a whole, I suppose, a beginning world of coding and solving problems and being aware of that world that was available to them. And he got really, really excited by that. And this whole thing about creating your own environment was, for him, brilliant. And I said, but so if you liked it so much, what made you stop? And he said, well, there are other things. And I think that, for me, that is what I would love to be able to ask the video games industry if they could create, which is other things, where because kids will go on, they will, we all know kids go through phases. You like one thing, it might be kind of Tamagotchi, it could be Nintendo, whatever it might be. They move on. And Minecraft seems to me to be almost unique. Dan will probably contradict me on this one, but it seems to be unique in games, in that the challenges it presents our children is fantastic, but the problem is they will go on and find other things. And so what I would like to say is, could we please have more video games where our children are creative and problem-solving rather than just running around shooting things? Thank you very much.
These are real issues for real parents, and today is a day of talks, of shared experiences and inspiration for parents by parents.
First of all, don't overpraise your children for success. Secondly, don't over-rescue them, particularly don't over-rescue your girls. Thirdly, and this is a big cliche around at the moment, allow them to be bored, because boredom is the engine of imagination.
A year or so after the bullying started, 8-year-old me, that was when I discovered programming properly. And it was a new world of things for me to explore, things to learn, and problems to solve. You say Minecraft is like crack for children? I'm not surprised that people love it so much.
The one thing that we worry about only is the amount of screen time they have. And we've had the rules, we try to be consistent when we rewrite them. And then along came this game called Minecraft.
This is an exercise where you ask where dad just gets to be completely controlled. Lift your left arm, take a step forward.
I don't make a big distinction. It's just, screens are just part of the environment. They're a bigger and bigger part. I can't imagine why anyone would restrict access to them.
I personally believe that children under 5 don't need it. That's my belief.
The supervision is also very important to talk about what it is that they are thinking about, what are they exposed to, and how can we address that with the young person.
I'm going to talk to you a bit about creativity, but I'm also going to talk to you about technology and how it kind of changed my life.
Do you want to join in? You'd have to. Trouble is, you have to give the iPad away. You have to give the iPad away.
I saw that and thought, hang on, schools are teaching creativity out of children. We have a system. So what we're announcing today, we want to call it the STEAM Co. The STEAM company, the STEAM co-creation, the STEAM collaborators, whatever we want co to mean. And we want to get other schools to do this, to try what we've done. We want to build a body of parts. So if you want to get in hold of it.
I'm going to start from the premise that kids love making things.
I'm going to tell you a strategy that is practical and effective. Practical means you can do it. Effective means it works.
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you for all our speakers. All the parents are standing up. But most of all, thank you. Thank you guys.